Hello and welcome to the channel. Much like in most modern militaries and police forces operationally active in the world today, service dogs have been as crucial today as they were back in the day. Dogs were used for everything during World War II by all sides, from relaying messages, carrying injured, to guarding specific sites and strategic locations of military value. The German army had a special 8-week school for training their dogs in World War II, beginning with testing the animal's potential. This started when the dogs were 6 months of age, and this was mainly for early examination that required the potential recruits to follow orders day and night across different terrain, to behave properly in climbing stairs, in going into darkened rooms, in crossing ditches and streams, on hearing gunfire and more. Timid dogs were instantly eliminated from this program. Dog handlers were also specifically selected, with a solid prerequisite consisting of being men who were both friendly and sympathetic to dogs. The German schools spent approximately as much time training the handlers as they did their dogs. The Allies had similar initial training and found that gun shyness alone washed out roughly 1/3 of potential dogs right from the beginning. The standard American and British dog training program was usually 6 to 8 weeks for sentry dogs, and for those performing more specialised missions, training could last up to 12 weeks. For those specialist roles, very specific and distinct dog breeds were used, specifically chosen for their characteristics. I'm sure that the first example, the German Shepherd, isn't a surprise to anyone. The German Shepherd quickly became the top choice for military services during World War II. These dogs were primarily used to deliver ammunition and messengers, leveraging their intelligence and athletic nature. Their impressive abilities and obedience made them invaluable on the battlefield. Today, German Shepherds are still widely employed by militaries and law enforcement agencies around the world due to their strong loyalty and versatility. German Shepherds have a rich history as working dogs, and they were originally bred in Germany to herd and guard farms and sheep as far back as 1899. Belgian Malinois were first used by armed forces during World War I and continued their service into the next global conflict. Known for their bright minds and their exceptional energy, these dogs played a crucial role in messaging and locating wounded soldiers on the battlefield. Dutch Shepherds were utilised by the German military during World War II. Known for their agility and their intelligence, Dutch Shepherds were employed in various roles across the battlefield. Their adaptability and trainability made them excellent military dogs, fit for multiple forms of service, including messaging and assisting in patrols. Messenger dogs were the most common and often the most important role of dogs during World War II. The Germans, in fact, selected only the smartest of their canine recruits for this duty. They provided scent trails for their messenger dogs to follow, using a 1-to-10 mixture of water to molasses-like substance that smelt like root beer, which they dribbled from containers that left a few drops per metre in order to guide their animals between the lines using various routes. Each side stressed the reliability of messenger dogs, and they were often faster than human runners. One famous Wehrmacht German Shepherd named Caesar delivered a message over 10.5 miles in 32 minutes, setting a record for the longest distance covered by a messenger dog. In some areas, the mountainous terrain made laying communications wire extremely difficult, and dogs were used to help by pulling wire up slopes too difficult for men to climb. Dogs were used in conjunction with reconnaissance patrols, were known variously as tracker dogs by the Germans, patrol dogs by the British, and scouts by the Americans. These dogs were used mostly at night, moving usually 20 to 30 metres ahead of the human patrollers, and were specifically trained to make no noise whatsoever. When the dog scented enemy personnel, it pointed or returned to its handler. The handler could roughly determine the distance to the enemy by the dog's level of excitement. With proper training, German Shepherd guard dogs can be trained to attack on command and are often perceived as aggressive, but they are also trained to stop their actions, hence why they're so desirable. They are highly trainable and used in similar police and military work to this day. Sentry or guard dogs were also widely used by both the Allies and the Axis. These dogs were found to rely more on sight and sound. They were used to safeguard field positions such as command posts, aerodromes and supply dumps, and the Germans made an additional note for their use to guard important industrial facilities against sabotage from resistance and partisan activity. Unfortunately, I can't make a video like this without touching on possibly one of the largest publicised examples of the German use of dogs during World War II, that being the guard dogs that were used by the SS. Reichsfuhrer Heinrich Himmler himself was a dedicated German Shepherd owner, and the breed quickly became a mainstay of the SS War Dog program. Every concentration camp had its own SS dog detachment. The animals were trained to viciously attack and maul inmates, the fear of such aggression being described as to encircle prisoners like a flock of sheep as to prevent them from escape, according to Heinrich Himmler. Alternatively, a more noble and humanitarian task that was common during World War II was the use of first aid or medical corps dogs. These animals located wounded men among the dead and saved countless lives. The German first aid dogs were trained to ignore men who were standing or walking and concentrated only on men lying on the ground. When a wounded man was found, the injured party would hold on to a strap on the dog's collar. It would then run back to its handler. The handler then led medics back to the wounded soldier. Their mission continued mainly in the European theatre during World War II, most notably in the casualty-heavy fighting on the Eastern Front. As well as being powerful workhorses, many soldiers and high-ranking individuals also had dogs, whether that be as personal pets or animals they found when on campaign. Pet dogs were as common then as they are today, and as such there is no surprise in finding them in historical reference images. I couldn't make a video like this and not include the many images of soldiers dressing up dogs in various pieces of uniforms and equipment or posing them for photos. In a video about dogs during World War II, I had to put a footnote in this video covering the most infamous dog of all times. As it's common knowledge, the big dog himself was a dog lover and had two of his own, Blondie and the lesser known other dog, Bella, both of which were German Shepherds. This video came from an initial idea by a supporter of the channel. I'm very thankful to all of those who watch, like and comment on all of my videos. If you have any suggestions for a video, please feel free to comment or find the pinned post under the community tab. And as always, thank you.